Hello everybody. I'm sorry I've been away for a little while. After my last video, I came down with the crud du jour. It wasn't COVID, but it was a rotten cold and cough, and I actually lost my voice for several weeks, so you may hear traces of that here today. But I'm back and I'm feeling a whole lot better. Today I want to talk to you a bit about seeing and recognizing the signs from what I call the divine. No, this is not a religious channel, but it's about much more. It's about trusting in the faith that there is divine wisdom within and outside of ourselves. It's what I think is lacking for so many today and underlies much of the stress and disharmony that's so pervasive throughout the world today. When each of us understands that we are a critical part of the divine, we feel more at peace. And when we feel at peace within ourselves, that peace spreads to others without even trying. Kind of like the cold that I'm trying to get over. With that in mind, I want to share with you a little story about how I learned to recognize that there are signs all around us that let us know that we have an invisible support system 24 hours a day. My story centers around a pair of sneakers that I call my angel shoes. Yes, you heard it right. I said sneakers. These shoes showed up in my life about 2 years ago. See, there's my throat. And here's how. I was out for a walk with my dog Henry. So around that time, the big toe joint on my right foot was giving me trouble. And while I was walking, I was thinking about whether I should see a doctor about it. As I often do during my walks, I had my AirPods in and I was listening to a podcast. So while I'm pondering my foot pain and listening, the podcast host was explaining something. I'm not sure what it was at this time anymore, but she decided to use a metaphor in her talk. She said, and I'm paraphrasing here, it's like when your feet hurt, so you get a new pair of shoes, and they are so comfortable and supportive that you wonder why it took you so long to find this relief. Okay, so I thought that was really weird. As you can imagine, I was taken aback. I was thinking about my feet, and here she was talking about foot pain. So I remember thinking that this was just a coincidence and let it go. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't start thinking about perhaps needing a new pair of supportive shoes. So Henry and I continued walking about a half a block more, and then right in front of me on the sidewalk was a pair of sneakers. Yes, sneakers. They looked brand new, and they looked like they were even about my size. And I thought, how odd. Here I am, thinking that my foot is hurting. Then the podcaster brings up the foot pain and new shoes, and voila, a pair of shoes appears, placed perfectly in my path, right in the middle of the sidewalk. And I know this seems really contrived, but believe me, it's absolutely true. So I'll admit that I was a bit rattled, and I felt like this was just a bit too strange to brush off as a coincidence. However, I'm not in the habit of dumpster diving for shoes, so I decided I was just going to leave the shoes there, and Henry and I walked on. So by the time I reached the corner, though, every bell and whistle in my body was going off, and I thought, how stupid can I be? My angels were practically screaming in my ear to go back and pick up the damn shoes, and here I was ready to ignore them and just walk away. So Henry and I turned around and walked back to the shoes to take another look. But still skeptical, I told myself that if they looked dirty or worn in the least, I was going to leave the shoes there on the sidewalk for somebody else to take. But when I picked them up to inspect them, they actually looked like they had never been worn before. There wasn't a mark on them. The tread was perfect. So I tucked them under my arm and I walked home. But still a bit incredulous, this time I told myself that if I try on the shoes and found them to be even a tiny bit too tight or too loose or uncomfortable in any way, They were going straight in the donation bin. I got home, and my husband saw me carrying the shoes and asked where I'd gotten them. After all, I was just out on a walk with the dog. A bit embarrassed, I told him the whole story, and I explained the conditions that I had set for myself as to whether I should keep them or not. So I sat down right on the front stoop, and I tried on the right shoe, because that's my bad foot. And lo and behold, it fit like a glove. So I put on the other shoe, and I walked around a bit as my husband watched me. And the shoes actually felt amazing on my feet. If I'm being honest, they felt better than any of the shoes that I had purchased in recent years. And so I just decided that I was keeping them. That's when I began to call them my angel shoes. And I want to introduce you to them now. Here are the angel shoes. You can see they've got a little hole worn in them, and they're a little scruffy at this point, but they are still very comfortable, and I still wear them after 2 years. So if you're wondering about my foot, though, I can't say it's 100% healed, but it really does feel better than it did on the day when I found the shoes. And so I really feel like the shoes were magically gifted to me by my angels. My angel shoes. So I realize that this story sounds really a bit too good to be true, and I assure you, every part of the story is 100% factual. I can get my husband as a witness. That day was a big turning point for me. It's the day that I stopped believing in coincidences. For years and years, I saw signs, small ones like seeing 1111 everywhere I looked, or more consequential ones, like heading out the door but then realizing you forgot something, so you come back in the house and find that you left a pot burning on the stove. These are not coincidences. In fact, I no longer believe in them at all. Now I recognize that other forces are at play, whether you want to call it God, Source, your angels and guides, your higher self, or a loved one who's in spirit now. It really doesn't matter. Whatever you call it, the universe has your back. Life is much easier when we decide to set aside disbelief, even just a little bit, because it allows us to see the remarkable synchronicities that are all around us every day. So I challenge those of you who are watching this to take a moment to quiet your mind and simply ask to see a sign. Then it's up to you to open your senses and just wait. Promise yourself this time that you're going to set aside skepticism or that part of you that tries to rationalize everything. Your sign may just be a feather or a song on the radio, or it might be a thought that enters your head to call an old friend. Your sign may not come today or tomorrow, but if you keep your eyes open, it will come. I want to hear your experiences with seeing the signs. So please share them in the comments below. I can't wait to hear them. I know you have some stories. Thank you for taking time to watch this video today. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and share it with a friend. And I wish everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. I am thankful for you.